aunties and uncles, those dads out there, those moms out there, here's something that you really need to be seriously aware of. Okay. So we're going to have a discussion. And let's get into a discussion. Have a discussion about what's happening with teens, especially those teens that have decided maybe at an age that's a little bit earlier than they are ready, or just simply are any of us even ready sometimes for those things that tend to happen in this world of relationships and dating and that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend. I want to have a quick chat with you guys as we just kind of go into the season where this is a lot more, especially after homecoming with children in school. You see a lot more of this. Who's my man? Who's not my man? And all these other things. So, no judgment zone. I'm just going to talk to you just about how I do things and how that may or may not help you. And the decisions that you make, of course, are always your decisions, and you will do what's best for you. So, let's just get right into it. Okay. So, here's what I wanted to say. The biggest part about what you need to talk to them before once they start saying I'm dating or I have a boyfriend or I like this guy, with me, with the structure of my family, with raising my three children who are now adults, and now I have five grandchildren. With the structure of my family, I have this one key thing that I like to say, and you'll probably hear me reference this throughout maybe this particular topic. But I am constantly in this motion where I will say, until you bring me a high school diploma, until you bring in a high school diploma, once you go to college, you'll be able to do this. Once you take off and you've gone past graduating from high school, a lot more of this will make sense. And you'll hear me say that often on these type of topics, especially when it comes to getting an understanding that even though you want a good relationship with your children, consequences and discipline have to be learned in the home, not putting your hands on people. I think that people somehow are so confused as to discipline and how you go about getting your home in order. The first time someone hears discipline, they instantly think, "Oh, you're telling me to beat my child?" Or no, no, you just need to have rules, and there needs to be order in your home. And when you have order, you bring peace of mind not only to yourself, but you bring peace of mind to your children. You also will be able to have this relationship where they'll be able to connect with you and talk with you and bring up these key issues, especially what's for the topic for tonight. So, rejection it's something that you think that they're able to understand it, or you maybe have, oh, they've seen that one movie about this and about emotions and about feelings, and you think that that's a clear understanding. I'm telling you, until they turn 25, the age of 25 is when the experts say that the brain is fully developed. Until they turn 25, the age 25, there's a lot that they still may not be understanding. And development is different with each individual. So a person's development may not be where they understand things completely. Comprehension is not easy for every child. So but they may not be comprehending what you think is just straightforward to you, they may not comprehend it the same way. So you do need to have those, what some people seem to think are uncomfortable conversations. If you've got a Dr. Ruth type person in your household that they've been around their whole life, they probably are not going to be that uncomfortable with having conversations about relationships and connections. But if you don't have that type of person, they may be a little bit withdrawn and may not realize what's happening to them until they're deep in it, and then they're going to reach out to you and it could be one big mess. You need to, especially what I'm seeing in today's generation, parents of teen boys, you need to talk to them about rejection. But I'm 51 years old, and I can tell you that, especially the men that I came across from, I don't know, from dating to 20s all the way up, men that I have come across over the years, dating my friends, dating myself, dating family members, that you get to a certain age and you hear enough stories, especially in my 40s, I seem to hear a lot more stories from different men, whether it was an uncle or a friend or, whoever, and they tell you that they had extreme um, difficulty getting past that first rejection. And sometimes you will even see men acting out way beyond having children and a new wife and everything. Sometimes you will still see some of them really not able to get past that one rejection of that one that they felt like that's the one that got away, right? And it could be because they were never taught about rejection. You need to really, I think Chris Rock has a funny routine where he talks about, just inside the home before you get him out there, you need to be talking directly to him to let him know you may not always be the shit to somebody, right? And you may think that your aesthetics bring everything to the table. You may think that the way you talk brings everything to the table, that your body has everything that a person will want. You may think the car that you're driving or the money that you have access to, you may think that that's everything, and that still may not be enough, or it may be too much. And so a rejection could happen. So I would say once they first say they have this interest in dating, you need to kind of cover all the topics and go over the things that you know and reach out to, mentors in the family, elders in the family, or other family members. Reach out to whoever and kind of form a support group that that child can go to talk to them about the fact that you might love you a lot, but the person that you with may walk away and say, that's not for me. Or the person that you're with may begin to have personal things going on that have nothing to do with you, and they may decide that they don't want this. And how you behave in the rejection, your demeanor during the rejection makes or breaks the type of person that you will be when dating. And your reputation could get out there that you're a difficult person to date. And when you have this tight knit little community of children that go to high school, they usually are going to the same schools, right? And so they're going to interact with people that know each other, and those stories may get out in a negative light. So, how you react, reactions are a big deal. Your demeanor when something happens is a really big deal. And I think that as mentors, as guardians, as parents, as elders, aunties, uncles in the family, if you're responsible individuals with responsible advice, because I don't want crazy cousin Pete or Sister Strawberry, Auntie Strawberry or player Uncle Pete. I don't need them giving advice in the dating game because they still giving out that old school player crap that doesn't work. It doesn't even work for Diddy anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like that 1990s player stuff is played out, and they may be giving that kind of advice out and you don't want that. But the responsible individuals that do know how to talk to young people need to really sit down, especially the 2024 boys, the post-pandemic boys. They really are not good at rejection. And I am seeing the worst stories happen in households with young boys dealing with the post-pandemic girls that say they're no nonsense. These post-pandemic girls are like, I don't want, and they're like, well, give me a reason. Don't have them. Just know I don't want you. And y'all are used to women not being so cold and so callous. And I'm trying to tell you, the post pandemic babies, not the ones that were born after the pandemic. I'm talking about the teenagers that went through the pandemic and it threw them off and they had to sit at home and they had to do their classes at home and they couldn't go to school. When they did go to school, they had to wear a mask. And then there was social distancing. And a lot of their birthday parties got canceled and a lot of their middle school graduations didn't go as they wanted it to go. And a whole bunch of things that have happened to them that they are just like, I just straight no chaser. And some people can't handle that rejection. And I am really seeing that a lot of these boys, teenagers that are 16 and 17 in 2024, they are not handling rejection well. So, how you talk to them about rejection is on you. You need to let them know that just because they feel that this is a good fit, the other person may not feel that it's a good fit. So you go into the no means no, right? You go into that, respect a person's boundary. You go into listening to what the other person has to say. And if they say that this is not a good fit right now, Do not gaslight, do not manipulate, and please stop texting people more than 20 times. Once you text someone, here's the art of texting. You text someone, you make your point. You may text another thing because oh yeah, I forgot to say this. And then chill out and wait for that person to say whatever it is that they're gonna say back. That person may cut you off with a do not contact me no more. The laws in our country say that when someone says, "Do not contact me," in a text, you are not supposed to contact them. If you continue to contact them, you could get yourself into some legal drama, and you can look that up per your community, per your county, per your state on what that the laws will in your area will do when you disrespect someone's boundary. Sending them 20 texts when they sent you one text and said, "I'm done." Sending them 20 texts isn't going to change the "I'm done." And if it does change it, now you have manipulated that person into being back with you, and that individual doesn't even want you. They're just dealing with you because you're gaslighting and manipulating them into coming back to dealing with you, and they feel more comfortable with just saying that I'm with you just so you shut the fuck up, right? Don't be that person. Teach your teen boys about rejection. And you know you're dealing with the craziness that's happening because there's a lot more that could happen, a lot of dangerous stuff that we won't really discuss on here, but a lot of essays happen. A lot of, harm can happen to an individual beyond that. People's family members get hurt. Sometimes people do things to people's cars and homes. Everything, all in the name of rejection. When you get back to the bottom of the story, well, what happened? The person was rejected, and that's the way they acted, and that's the way they responded because they were rejected. So you need to talk to your teen girls, you need to talk to your teen boys, you need to talk to your teen and whichever gender that they represent themselves as. You need to talk to them when you're paying the phone bill. You're the one giving them a place to stay. Even if they have a job, you're still providing the full package of the groceries in the home and a door for them to slam, right? You can still be in the middle of that conversation when they're under your care. And you want to do so in a way that doesn't cause, you don't want to go into no violent yelling and screaming. Okay, that's not the way to get it done. But you do want to have some really hard conversations, and you want to have them quickly. And be sure to reach out to the parents of the other child to say, "Hey, your child is doing this to my child. My child said they're done. Your child continues to text and to harass and call, and I've had to have my child block your child on social media on the phones. And your child is being difficult in not allowing my child to set their boundaries and to say that this is not for me. Your child seems to be dealing with rejection in a very negative way, and I need you to talk to your child. Or is it okay if we could all sit down as three and have a conversation because your child is making my child feel uncomfortable?" The key point to this whole talk is have a talk with teens about rejection. Don't even wait for breakups. They don't want to talk when it's breakup time and they're crying and they're all emotional. They usually don't want to have that talk in those moments, and they may hear you. You still need to say it because I'm a firm believer in what Joyce Meyer once preached on a stage, that you say things because in the season that the individual is supposed to hear it, they'll hear it. So you go ahead and say it. But it would be better when no one's heartbroken and everyone's happy and it's Christmas. This Christmas. And it's Christmas time. Everybody's in a good mood. And just sit down and say, "Hey, today, Friday, we're going to sit down. We're going to have some pizza, you guys, some Coke. Bring a couple of your friends over and we're going to have a town hall about rejection and start having weekly." I remember at my house, there was always weekly meetings with the teens, and they could bring up conversations and we could talk as long as their parents had signed the approval. And my neighbor and I had a thing going where the girls would come and talk and cook and learn, different things and could feel comfortable and have a conversation. And when I was in the church, I would do that with a lot of different youth in the church. And it was something that I made a big deal of. And it was on a weekly basis. And the children knew, "Hey, I can come to, hey, auntie, I want to talk to you about this and that." And sometimes they may not even talk to their parent about it. But a weekly town hall, get together that friend group and say, "Hey, group of guys, here, we're going to talk about this." And they go with the male mentors and have really good detailed conversation and answer uncomfortable questions. And Women, you can sit down and do the same with a group of teen girls. And sometimes you guys can get together and don't encourage that, negativity and, name calling and saying, really foolish stuff. Have really serious intellectual conversations about what rejection means and other topics in that are difficult in relationships like breakups and setting boundaries and no means no and using protection and making wise decisions, all the things that you this is what bringing children into this world and train a child up in the way that they should go. This is what this is all about. This is hopefully what your parents did for you. This is what I saw in my home with my parents, and we have mentors in our community and in our church community that reached out and did these things, and I gave this back to my children, and I encourage my children to do this with their children and just kind of keep this thing going. Have those conversations before it happens. It makes it so much easier to know how to process and to know who to go to and to say, hey, this happened and I need you to help me because I've said this to this person and he's still texting or she's still texting and harassing and threatening and immediately to close this out. If an individual says in any type of form of communication, whether it's verbal, whether it's on phone, in person, or by text, if an individual says that they want to themselves, you need to give them the national hotlines in your area. A really good hotline to help people get mental health help immediately and to get someone to address it immediately is 988. And that is a national hotline that can be used for individuals. So if you feel like this is something that you need help with and you need an expert to come and get on this phone and talk to you immediately and get you the close by resources quickly so that you can do what it takes to get your mental space back in order. 988 is definitely up and moving, and it is one that we've been told to recommend out. And people in every household should know that the same way you know that other. You know how to call that. And I want to talk about knowing when it's an emergency. Like 988, it may just be like a right now mental health. You need to get some health care. And if someone's bleeding, someone's been hit, someone's vehicle or car, vehicle or their home, someone's trying to break in, the things that are being really out of hand with this rejection, you need to call 911. 988 can help you sort out what needs to be done in the situation as well. All right, you guys, I hope you learned something from that and really take heed when I say that you need to consider doing these weekly town halls with these teens and talk to them and stop making it such a joke and such a game. Be real serious because real serious things are happening in the homes of individuals and impacting their lives for a very long time. What happens and what does not get addressed and the lessons that are not taught and the consequences that do not happen can impact a lifetime of people. You don't teach that teenager how to deal with rejection, they'll go. That's something that my son said recently, and I was like exactly that. My father taught consequences, for every action, and it's something that's just been in our family for a long time. You need to be taught there's consequences for your actions. So whatever action you choose to make, be ready to pay the price for the consequences that could come with that. Really important stuff. Don't dismiss this and share this with someone that needs to hear it. Again, I'm Dee Shields, and thank you so much for coming by for another